well, without using these kind of third-party software. So now the point of this, my understanding is that it's supposed to make it easier natively to do it inside Xero instead of plugging in, these other kind of things to have to come in and out. So I think that's my understanding from it. From what I got from at XeroCon and kind of what I've been reading up on.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Remember, Daniel, when I set up the Green Fork account and all of the mapping was done, all of the clearing accounts for the cash, those were already done with Stripe. Like we already had that, so that it makes the reconciliation super automated. So that basically all you have to do is if your client has Stripe, you just connect it, and basically it maps the chart. It creates accounts, maps the chart of accounts, does a clearing. So all you have to do is hit match when you get in the money in the bank. But now,
wait. When did you do that? Did you do that before this? Or?
So that was Square.
Oh shoot! Sorry. Okay, too bad I'm recording. Okay, it's okay. I'll put on my mess ups. I'm fine with that.
It's a very similar idea though. So there's going to be a bank account for Stripe because really it's the same for PayPal. Like it really does represent cash. You just haven't been paid out by those providers quite yet. So it's going to help with the reconciliation, like all the fees that are associated to Stripe. It's going to break them out and bring them in through the bank feed related to Stripe. And when you use that for your online invoicing, it's going to obviously automatically basically do the reconciliation for you. So you send out an invoice with Stripe, a customer pays it, it's going to mark the invoice as paid, post it to the GL, and then match it in the actual Stripe bank account. So,
yeah.
That's definitely what I like about it. Well, from what I'm seeing so far, because back in the day before this came around, we would log into Stripe, have to export all the transactions, and then import it into Xero and do that once a month. But now everything's just going to happen automatically daily. So we actually, one thing that I did was I was using Silver Siphon. I'm sure y'all have heard of them.
Yep. Bankfeeds.io also.
Right.
I use bankfeeds.io for a bit.
Yep.
Okay. I was paying them $9 a month for each client.
Yep.
Yeah, so I wanted
now it's free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They now got to figure out, I guess, something else to offer because I'm sure that they're going to lose a lot of subscriptions.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's their whole business model, huh?
Well, my thing though that I think this is going to be a game changer for is going to be PI. I mean, PI. There's the strength with PI was the recurring billing. Now you can actually set up the recurring billing inside Xero, so you don't need a third-party software to do it. So I mean, if at this point PI just kind of it's a proposal software,
Yeah.
right? I mean, now don't get me wrong, PI is very powerful. I love it. I'm not changing. I'm sticking with what I got. It's just my workflow is way too kind of ingrained that I'm not touching it right now. I don't have that time, but that's something that was kind of the first question I got asked is like, well, isn't that the whole point of PI? I'm like, why I use it.
And I don't know if I should be saying this on here. Doesn't PI use Stripe in the background anyway, though?
Well, you don't have to not say it. It's a known fact.
I don't know if it's public knowledge. I don't know if I'm supposed to say it or not.
If it's not, I've said it. So
Now it is.
What are they going to do?
But how would it work? Like, okay, if let's say you wanted to use Stripe, don't you have to have them verify the deposits? I think there's 2 deposits they have to, micro deposits that they have to verify. So isn't there like a manual part to it still, or how does that work?
Oh, when you set up the recurring billing or whatever?
Right.
That's a good fucking question. Sorry, I don't mean to cuss. That's a really good question. I was actually talking to Corey, your counterpart out here, Daniel. Yep. And he had a question come up, like kind of a technical question. Has anybody even messed with it yet? Because I think that's some of the questions we're having is, what the heck, how is that going to work? And last I checked, and I could be wrong, it's not really working properly. Have you guys messed with it yet? I haven't had a chance. Like I'm literally barely being able to sit down in front of my computer, but
same. I might try to log onto my bootleg Xero HQ, but I need to clean up how to connect it. Because I can just connect it like a bank feed, right? But would I need a good example? I would guess.
Well, I think really, so what I'm curious about is the repeating invoicing and what that flow really looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I personally haven't really had a chance to play with it. I'm doing it right now on one of my own accounts.
Mm-hmm.
See.
I need my phone because I have two-step authentication. Oh, there it is.
Very secure. I like it. Let's see.
Well, I guess I should be playing with it too, huh?
Well, Ephraim, I want to hear from you. Like, how do you think it would help your clients? Or do you think it would help? Yeah, how do you think it would help them or anybody who's a business using Xero? Because your clients do their own reconciliations, or do they try, or do you do them all?
I do everything. Well, we do everything for them.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, this helps us give them more detailed financials.
Faster.
So, like, as far as and faster, as far as the revenue line items, because we're starting to. Ever since we met at that one event that we did where Heather Smith spoke,
Mm-hmm.
I remember she said, she likes to detail out her revenue. So that's what we've been trying to do ever since.
Like what the different lines of services, so like each product or each type of product, so it's not just one big lump of revenue.
It's not just sales.
Yeah.
Right.
So they can actually see what part of their business is doing better than others. That's awesome.
Exactly. So that's going to help the client as far as get more detailed service from us, and it's going to help us be able to do it in a timely manner. Just all the manual labor behind it.
So I'll tell you this, for me, a lot of my professional service firms I have, these business coaches and stuff like that, they get paid ACH. They get paid 2-3 months in advance. And then it's to them, it's very labor intensive on their end on how to collect. And there's been no way to really be able to fully just, inside Xero to be able to do this. Now, QB does it, Merchant Services does it, but inside Xero, there was never really a way. You always had to do a third party or find a third party solution, with either your CRM or whatever it was to do it. And so now that you can do that in there, I think that's going to help them tremendously, especially with cash flow.
So Stripe will be able to do the ACH. And what was the manual process that they're doing before when they accepted ACH?
So they would send so essentially they print the invoice out. Mm-hmm. They will send it to the client. The client would pay it when they felt like it.
Yeah.
And then they would put on the bottom, send that, and not even ACH or wire transfers. I don't know people still do wire transfers, to be honest with you, but doing wire transfers, and this is something that kind of came about too because I was auditing their systems, and I was like, what the hell, why? Because we were doing tax planning, and I'm like, I projected it out. He goes, actually, no, that's not right. We get paid 3 months later, and I'm like, why? But anyway, sorry, I divulged. So that's kind of, to me, that's going to be really integral for them to kind of keep that in one system, because if you're having to log into, you can set it up inside Stripe, but then you have to do like subscriptions and stuff like that. And to me, it's a pain. Like I tried to do it with some of my clients and it's just a pain. And then you have to go in and actually or you have to actually go in and charge the client every month. That can be, then you got to pay an admin to do that.
Yeah.
I got another client who does that, but he pays his admin person. He's got a virtual assistant. That's kind of her main job is to do that. Now we can automate that. Now we can actually get rid of that, and not that we want to get her to get rid of, not that we want him to fire her, but, that's all really she's doing. Now it's free.
So now in that client, for example, they can just send out the invoice. It's going to have the Stripe link and they can pay by ACH and get paid right away, pretty much.
So my understanding is they can get it set up recurring billing. Mm-hmm. And once that happens, and whatever time they designate, it's supposed to be coming in every month. It charges them every month. So there's no having to go into Stripe and charge them. There's no having to set up the subscription inside Stripe to do it. It's all natively inside Xero.
Nice. And then the other thing that I'm showing now, which is as far as I've gotten, hopefully Daniel's done more than me, is basically, so what the new option, just like when you go to add a client's bank account and connect it to Xero, you have the main accounts that we have direct feeds with, and you could search. So let's say, you want to search for another bank, let's say, Chase or something, that'll all come up like normal. But now we have Stripe as an option. So basically, that information will come in on like real time, and like what Ephraim was saying, now instead of you giving them that information once a month when you get that information from Stripe, now you'll be able to get it every day. Is that basically kind of the value that you're seeing there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll let you talk, Ephraim, because that's kind of your wheelhouse.
Yeah, so we have a lot of e-commerce clients, or just clients that let's say like Jose are business coaches, or they do different things to where they'll have packages that they put on their Acuity scheduling, and then someone purchases the packages. And normally, if they have, let's say, a Bank of America account, you see the Stripe transfer come through after the fees have been taken out. So a long time ago, that's how we used to reconcile it. But then it's like, wait a minute, we're losing that 3-4% that we can, recode as a merchant fee, and then, let them know like, hey, instead of your revenue being 300,000, it's actually 300,000 plus that 4%, which looks better to the banks or whatnot. So, now with Stripe, we don't have to, with the integration, we don't have to go through and manually just do all this. It all can just flow in. So that's exciting, because we have a nice amount of clients that use Stripe in one way or another, whether it's through e-commerce, business coaching, or even myself. I use Stripe, whenever I collect payments. So I like the whole integration.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's just going to make it a lot simpler for me, because I use Stripe for everything, especially now that they got that little digital coder now that I can actually collect payments in-house. Like, that's awesome. Now, there's very few times I can do that, but the few times I have, I got a Square account just for that. Now I can kind of keep it all in-house in one place. It just, the less places I have to go to, the better, because while, we're pretty tech savvy, some of our clients are not. And the more websites they have to log into, the more it gets a headache for them, and the less they want to do it. And then which ends up being more work for us to reconcile what they go back to their bad ways, or not necessarily bad, but just inefficient ways, going back to the bad, the because that's what they know. And so this just kind of makes it a little bit easier to, if we can train them up to do that, then we can, keep them on the right track, and they don't get frustrated. Because, I mean, let's be real, I mean, if you try to do something and it's not working, you're like, man, F this, and you're done. I'm going back to, this is why I know it. I mean, I do it sometimes, I'm not gonna lie,
I do it all the time. I'm about to go back to my Android. I've been complaining about the iPhone since January.
That's what I'm saying, I mean, you'll give it, and that's because we're a little bit more savvy. I mean, think about it. You're a small business owner, and you're trying to grow your business. Do you really have time to
You don't care.
new? You don't give it. You get it done. I don't care. Okay, it's gonna cost me $30 more. Okay, get it done. I need it done.
Hey, Daniel, do you have anything to show us, or I'm going to try to stumble through the matching part of this?
No.
Do it.
I can't log into my Stripe account.
Two-step authentication or what?
Yeah. Pretty much. It's a security.
He doesn't want to see his transactions he's got on the side.
Yeah, he doesn't want to know that. Like,
I wish I had a bunch of money in Stripe, but I don't.
Side hustle millionaire over there. So let's say, like, here, this is just the demo company. This would be Stripe on the left, transactions coming in. And basically what the Stripe integration would do is it would set up, and correct me if I'm wrong, Daniel, because I'm completely talking out of my A. So it's been a while since I've been in Xero. So it would set up the chart of accounts, right, with the clearing accounts, like I said before. And basically on the right, you'd have the information coming from the invoices on the right as a match, that when basically the payment clears the bank, that would match up. you would also have the bank or the Stripe fees set up as an account, and those would match up 1-for-1 from the bank, right? So that would take away some of that manual work that you were saying, Ephraim, like it would be netted out or something with the fees out, and like you don't know what the fees are and what the actual amount is. Is that kind of right in a not, I guess I'm not an accountant anymore. Non-accountant's view. I just want to make it simple for small businesses to understand.
Yeah, the biggest thing is that it saves us time. That's extremely important. From an accountant standpoint, it helps us be more profitable because it cuts down the amount of hours that we have to spend on doing this detailed work. Which is, I think, because of that, a lot of accountants end up skipping that. They'll just say, it's not worth the time to do this extra step because I have to go in and do more work and download and import and export and all these things. So now with this Stripe integration, you can do that and not have to put in the extra hours.
Yeah, I mean, it was always a pain because the deposit that came in was net of the fees, and so it was like, and if you have 1 or 2 invoices, not that big of a deal. But if you've run in 30, 40 transactions a day, or these e-commerce clients, that ends up being just stupidly just complicated. I mean, for me, when I was running my Stripe, before I was using PI, let's just say it was a pain in the ass for me for my few invoices that I was sending a month. I can't imagine the e-commerce clients that I don't have any, and to be honest, I'm good. I'll shoot them your way, Ephraim.
Yeah, they're definitely a handful.
What communications did you guys receive? Did you receive an email from Xero saying that we have that integration live? Because I know that there was an announcement during XeroCon, but it wasn't rolled out yet. How did you guys know?
So I was up late working, and so for a lot of my clients, we are just now putting the Stripe together. So I was trying to create a Stripe account, and then I was going to have Jerry go in and import trends. Came up as like, hey, there's a Stripe integration now, and I got excited, and I emailed or I Slacked Jerry, and he was excited too. It's kind of crazy that these things make accountants excited.
Well, it's so much prettier than I mean, I worked in oil and gas, and it was like horrible, and it's actually kind of fun, because then you're like putting up all these things that look cool, and then stuff's matching and doing stuff, and you're like, oh, it's like a game. It's fun. So
I don't know if I would say fun.
Well, I've had accountants say it's actually fun, but it also depends on the client. If you have like a dream client that's like the demo company, I'm sure it's fun, but in reality, it's not like that.
I mean, we're out here trying to make accounting sexy, so.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we can finish this up. I just wanted to kind of touch on like some of the most exciting things about it. Daniel, do you have anything to add or?
No, I just want to play with it. That's all. The repeating invoices.
That to me is the recurring billing. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
I think that was the big thing missing from the competitor, the green competitor. So that you can have that recurring. Now that you can actually do that, and I can just connect. I already have a Stripe account. I can just connect it to
the invoice, and you send that monthly invoice out, and then they can automatically pay.
No, they don't pay. It automatically deducts it from their account. It stores the information. Yeah. So you do. They set it up once, and then as long as they're good.
Oh, that's right.
It'll automatically charge the card whatever day you edit it. At least that's what they promised at XeroCon. That's what I've read, and from what I've read, that's what it's supposed to do now.
That's huge for the accounting side, because they're
I'm
talking to that partner in Puerto Rico, Daniel, who's like, oh, I don't get paid. Everybody has that problem. It's like, well, you need to get the information up front, auto draft.
I was talking to somebody who was bragging that their receivables are only 10% of their gross, and I'm like, bro, my receivables is $300. Like everybody automatically, I auto draw everybody before I get the work done, and so this sets it up because I mean part of your workflow will be like, hey, I'm gonna send you this. I'm gonna send you this to get set up. It's just you got to integrate that and part into your onboarding.
Well, everybody's on that subscription model, like Netflix. It's like everybody's subscription. So your accounting services are a subscription, and that's
the best business to be in, honestly.
Well, no, it's crazy. I was talking to I just got inducted to the board of a nonprofit, and I'm the treasurer. Thank you. Yeah, and we were talking about it, and it's just like I was looking at the business model, and it's like, guys, you guys are monthly recurring. Like it's the same damn thing that I have. Like it's easy. It's easy and it's scalable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just you just got to make sure the right things are in place. So
it's like getting a paycheck almost too. Because back in the day it was like you didn't know about your cash flow, and now if you just set up that from the beginning, whether you're an accounting business or another kind of business, like what Ephraim said, it's like that's the model that we're all going to.
Oh yeah, I mean
client retention. If you are great at that, then you're only going to continue adding more clients. You'll lose. Hopefully the goal is to add way more than what you end up losing. You grow revenue month after month.
100%. I mean, it's like I said, it's easily scalable business. If you got that scale down, cut some apps. Cut staff. Bring down. If you need to scale back up, hire staff. Bring on some more apps. Like it's if because I mean, if we needed to, we could go down. And let's say if hell breaks loose and I can go down to just me, cut everything except Xero, and I can do it that way. Get rid of HubDoc, get rid of PI, get rid of everything, and just kind of now, okay, start from scratch again, And so, I hope that never happens. It'd be bad, but it's
you're in a stranded island. What is the one app you would take with you? You're stranded on.
Stranded island. That's a good question.
You're only gonna, you know how they say like one possession, but for you it would be an app.
That's a really good question. I don't know.
You need to do a podcast on that and ask a bunch of people like, if you're stranded on an island, you can only take one app with you. What would it be?
I like that. I'm gonna do that next time. I think next conference I'm gonna do that.
There you go. Cool. So I think we agree that the repeating invoices is the easiest part, makes the reconciliation faster so that you can give your clients more detailed information. I think that was the main point.
Like he said, like Ephraim said, if you're reconciling them based on the net, you're missing out on that gross amount, and the numbers look better. Again, if you're trying to get a loan, and I mean, think about it, 4%. That's a lot. I mean, it's not a lot in the grand scheme of things, but if you're looking at a loan, that could be the make or break for as far as are you going to get that loan or not? So
also that I think it gives them the opportunity to adjust their prices so that they can it's a visibility, right? So like if I don't know if you'd want to report the gross number. I'm an auditor, so now I'm auditing. I'm like, wait a minute, like, like that's not real revenue. But like, so if there's 4% and that's included in the gross, that 4%, you'd want to include that in the price and then take out the 4% that's an actual fee, right? And then report that as an expense, right?
Yeah. So you have the gross amount, but then you have your stripe fees or merchant fees under your expense. So I mean, at the end of the day, you still get the net amount, but it's just you want to report that. I mean, those are true numbers,
Yeah, but also like the pricing too, because if they don't have the visibility, they don't know what their prices need to be to like account for the fees. I don't know.
No, I mean you bring up a good point. Yeah, I mean if you're looking at your books and you're, I mean it's 4%.
Ephraim, what do your clients usually do? Do they know that do they take that into account ahead of time?
What the merchant fees?
Yeah.
So a lot of times they don't until they come meet with us, and then we sit down and we go through all their expenses, and they start realizing that, man, I might actually need to increase my price because it's not high enough. I didn't account for merchant fees and all these other things in my pricing. The only thing I accounted for was what's the cost of the item, and then multiply it by 2 or 3 or something, and then that's my price.
Yeah.
So I want to say, man, I love the Instagram post you were putting about how people slashing prices without knowing their margins.
Yeah.
I've seen that way
about
too.
The hair ones, the hair business.
Well,
yeah.
But I mean, that just goes for any industry. It's like that just goes for any industry because
not knowing their margins. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you try to slash prices to keep up with competitors, and next thing you know, you're like, oh, you got cash coming in the door, but you're broke.
Right.
Right. And we can even go, suffice to say, that's the same thing that traditional firms do, who are trying to who compete by price. I mean, my old firm did that. It's like, okay, so they'll do a tax return for 300, we'll do it for 200. And over that, I was like, our break-even point's 400.
Right.
And then you want to talk about, well, I need revenue in the door. Yeah, but we're losing our ass off over here. So
their staff's really unhappy because they're probably not paying them enough because they're doing everything so cheap, and they have like, oh, I can't keep anybody. I can't keep any staff happy. I can't find anybody good. It's like, yeah, because you're not treating them right. Ephraim's had the same staff forever. You too, Jose. Like I've never seen, most of the firms that I see, they have such high turnover.
No, it's a challenge. It's a challenge finding really good help, especially people that can pick up tech, not just accounting, but pick up all the technology that we use. It's extremely hard. I know that Amanda Aguilar and I forget her partner, they have Accounting Fly. So I might start looking at that. But yeah, it's, you hire people and they have a good resume, and then when you bring them on, it's like, wait a minute, you don't really know. You're not thinking through the whole thing. You're just things wherever.
So I used Accounting Fly for my posting. So there's some smart accounting folks out there, but my frustration was this: people see remote work, people see things like that, and people are just, I got so many that just apply, because there's a section in there, tell me about yourself, and half the applicants left that blank and will just send me a resume, and I look at the resumes and I'm like, wow, they're very impressive resumes. But then I go on their social media handles, and I go on primarily LinkedIn, and there was one dude that I was like, man, he didn't put anything, but I'm like, okay, let me give him a chance to learn his LinkedIn. He's sitting there cussing somebody out on LinkedIn because the billable hour is the way to go. And I was like, nope. Hell no. Like, we good. I went through, I kid you not, 30 applicants, and I hired 0. So.
No, it's definitely because you want someone smart that can keep up with the technology, but you also want someone that's personable, someone that's not scared to speak to clients, and that can actually form a relationship with them too, right? Because whenever it's time to get open items, or even whenever it's time to talk about the financials, you need someone that client can connect with. Otherwise, all the work's going to flow directly through you. And finding good talent is hard. It's definitely hard, and that's something I think all firms have an issue with. And then not just finding them, but keeping them, right? Because if they're really good, then someone else might poach them from you.
So I will tell you this. Let me take a step back. I did find one person that no experience in the cloud environment. She had a little bit of experience, but she gets it. And so we're trying to find a way to bring her on part-time to kind of expose her a little bit to it. But if you're looking, man, I can introduce you. She's looking to go out. She's pretty smart, CPA out of New York. So, because for me, what I ended up doing, man, I ended up just hiring somebody with TOA. I went with the outsourced accountant, and I got a Filipino CPA who just blew everybody else's resume out the water. And her, dude, like, legit.
Have you outsourced before, Ephraim?
Yeah, we're actually using Double Rule right now, actually.
How's it working?
It's been good. Obviously the first month was a lot of billable hours. I don't know how that was for you, but they're starting to really catch on and get a lot of our work done. So that's good.
So my issue with them, and I don't know if we're gonna keep it. I don't care. So the girl that was working for me was great. I told you she was freaking awesome. Well, she's now on a full-time lease with another, so they gave me somebody else, and they're like, "Oh, we'll make sure that the transition is smooth." No, it's been bad, and so, which kind of made me get pushed to try. I was like, okay, let me try TOA because I'm having to train this guy, and I'm having to train him at 8-9 p.m. my time. And I'm just like, no, man, that's my time for my family, you know.
I'm taking a picture of you guys.
And so I figured out, let me try TOA. My buddy's using them. He swears up and down by them. And like I said, man, the talent is ridiculous. Like I wanted, there was two people wanted to hire. It was either teach somebody tax or teach somebody accounting. And I figured tax is easier to teach. So.
We got off topic. Daniel, it looks like you're dying to say something.
Does it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's all really interesting stuff to hear about.
Say hi.
Hey, Jerry.
Oh.
You gotta go say hi.
Yo, what's up?
How are you?
I'm good.
Hey, I want to hear about what you found about Stripe. How'd you find out about it?
Like how you found out about the Stripe integration?
Xero.
No. I mean, like, how did you find out about that they just rolled it out?
I talked to some guy on Double.
Okay.
He told me yesterday.
Oh, okay. So he spoke to Alan? Did you speak to
Alan.
He spoke to Alan. When did you speak to him?
Monday.
And he told me about Alan Herrera with Double Rule.
The PM of Double Rule. No, that guy's good. I like him. He's good.
Alan brought it up on Monday, and then.
I mean, I've been waiting for it.
Yeah, I felt like me and Jerry, we've been talking about. We're waiting for them to roll it out, and then last week finally came.
Cool. Okay. So, Daniel, what were you trying to say? That was so important.
So important. No, it was actually sort of a question related to just payments in general, because you guys were talking about merchant processing fees, and it can be alarming to people when they don't realize until months down the road, 3% is gone as part of collection from merchant. And what I've heard from other people when I was practicing was, how do we get this down? And some of their solutions were other payment methods, right? Like accepting checks or however they want to go about it, trying to get a deal with another processor that's a lower percentage. And they ended up having bad experiences and kind of losing sight of really the purpose, right? The purpose is to get paid reliably. 4% is a very reasonable amount, in my opinion, to make sure that you get paid timely and you don't have 10% outstanding in AR at all times. So I was just curious, what do those conversations look like when you talk to your clients about online payments in general?
So I will tell you this. I just got one of my clients that sends international payments on Veeam because they were using PayPal, and PayPal was hitting them with like 6%, 6.5%, something stupid. Mm-hmm. And she was, and I was looking in there, and after actually XeroCon, I reached out to Veeam and I was like, hey, I went and talked to them a little bit and kind of explained the situation. So they were telling me, I think they're charging her somewhere around like 3.75 or 4, somewhere around there. So it's like a 2%, gap. And we're talking like $30,000-$40,000 payments going out a month. So that's a good amount of money, And so, I mean, so far she's been happy with them. And as far as for international goes, Veeam is the way to go. Locally, for me, man, PayPal just, all my clients that say they use PayPal, the first conversation I have is, get away from there. It's too expensive. I mean, it's super expensive, and it's a pain in the ass to reconcile. It's just my personal opinion. I mean, but that's what I've heard a lot with the at the certifications as well. Is PayPal is a pain in the ass. I mean, do you have experience with that, or no?
Horrible. It's horrible. That takes up so much time. Because you have temporary holds and just all kinds of things that go through it. Jerry's like master at it and stuff, but I don't like it at all. Ever since he's come on board, I haven't reconciled PayPal, so I don't know what I would do if he was to be.
You're a very smart man, Ephraim.
So I'm curious because PayPal. Well, what else is there international? I know PayPal's international. Veeam is international. Stripe we confirmed is in Puerto Rico. What else? Because we work with so many partners in LATAM, I'm curious, like, what the options are there.
So, so here's the thing. I don't know about processing payments locally in their native countries.
Yeah.
I know Stripe just is about to open up an office in Mexico.
Yeah, Australia,
So,
Austria, Canada, Denmark. Yeah, it doesn't look like they do much in South and Central America.
no. And so Veeam, I know, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's just to send payments internationally. It's not necessarily as an international person, as an international business to collect.
Yeah, you're right. They just opened up an office in Mexico City.
Oh yeah, no. Stripe is about to go into the Latin American market. Like they opened up in Mexico City, and they're about to. If they're not live there, they're going to go live pretty soon, and then it's just going to open up the floodgates down that way.
That is amazing for what we're doing then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, over at GCAS, that's going to be great for them. I mean, you know, that they can integrate this into their workflow and just, you know, again, solves a huge problem, which I don't know what they're doing down there for payments, but I can tell you this, it's probably some kind of, you know, back-ass having to back it into Xero. I mean.
People like say they have an app like that in Latin America, so it's interesting. So they're using some kind of small thing.
Yeah, it's probably super expensive, to be honest with you. I mean, we'll see more. Especially if you're the first in the game, you know?
Cool. Well, I think we're up. I put this to 4:10. I wanted to post something super short, but I don't know how I'm gonna do that. I'm not a super video editor like Jose, but what I'll do is I'll just download this, see if I can put it up somewhere like on a YouTube or something.
Okay. Do you want me to cut this up? What do you want from this?
I want the whole thing somewhere, so I do want to put it on YouTube, and then maybe we can cut it up and put it on LinkedIn. Ephraim, what do you want from it? I think we all kind of want to cut it up a little bit.
Yeah. I'm. You know, obviously we're gonna have to edit out some of Jose's rants, but
yeah. Send it my way. WeTransfer. Have you ever used WeTransfer?
I think I've used it with you.
Okay. Just log in. It's to certain. I think it's like 2 gigs you can send for free. Just send it to my email. I'll download it.
I can put it towards Xero box. I'm pretty sure I could use that.
Okay, whatever. I mean, either way, just let me access it. I'll cut it up and I'll turn around and send it back to you guys. And you know, that way you have to take a look at it and then we'll throw it out there. Yeah, I'll cut up some of my rants.
I like them. I want them up somewhere. I think the whole conversation was good to have somewhere, but definitely, like, I wanted just something to post on LinkedIn, post on Twitter, post on Instagram, something that's really digestible. No, but I think it's really good because we talked a lot of shit, which is perfect. So
I'll tell you this. I kind of called that account text for having a bunch of old white people up on stage talking about the state of the industry. So,
well,
I rustled little feathers there. And so did Tony. So, you know, do what you got to do. I mean,
you and Tony must have had. I want to hear about that.
We had a great time. Oh man, yeah. Let's stop recording and we'll talk about it.
All right, I'm gonna end the recording because now we're gonna be like, what happens in Boston stays in Boston.